Good morning.
Hello, Mick. It's Rowan from Silver Tiger
How you
Media.
doing, mate?
How are you?
Good.
Fantastic. Oh, look, what a privilege to speak to you, a true legend of global music. My pleasure. A true legend of global music and pioneer of hard rock and heavy metal. Absolutely magnificent, and thank you very much for your time.
Oh, my pleasure, mate. Thank you for yours.
Indeed. The journey essentially all started for you back in 1967 at the ripe old age of 19. It must seem like such a long time ago.
It's another lifetime, isn't it? Yeah, it seems like another lifetime. But, I think the driving force with me is that I've still got the same passion and energy for what I did back then, and it's still with me today. I've still got a love for what I do. I've got a love for the guitar, the instrument, writing songs and playing music, and it's all important to me, yeah. And it's become part of my life in a big, big way.
Brilliant. It's an astounding 45 years together, 40 million records sold, a list of accomplishments longer than David Cameron's election promises.
And that's a long list.
Indeed. I hope it's not a rude question, but how's the trip been for you? Can you sum it up briefly?
Well, it's been a roller coaster ride, sometimes going up, sometimes coming down, and going up and coming down, but it's the coming up again, which is the it's the belief in what you do and the passion of what you do that keeps you coming up and driving you forward, again. There's been many highs for the band. There's been many lows, the loss of David and Gary, of course.
Yes.
And of course, recently with Trevor, which is I don't think I can put it into words how sad and devastated we are about that. But the driving force has always been the passion for the music, and that's what keeps me going today.
Wonderful. And as you know, Australian people are very, very fond of you and the band, and we were very sad to hear of the passing of Trevor, particularly recently. Considering he was such a huge part of the life with you guys, how difficult was it to move on from that point?
Well, he was with us, with me since 1976, It was unbelievable. We had the same birthday on the 9th of June. We shared so much, so many rooms we shared, and, the touring and shows and concerts. So it was a huge loss that you failed to put into words, to be honest. But, when he was ill, he wanted the band to continue. And so we got in a guy called Dave Rimmer, who's now our present bass player. And Dave came in with the blessing of Trevor, and then Trevor, unfortunately, didn't return like he was hoping to, and he went to that great green room in the sky, and we continued on with Dave because it seemed like the natural thing to do. Now, Dave was in awe of Trevor's bass play, and so he's very faithful to his bass lines, but he brings in a bit of his own style too. And the nice thing about Dave is he's done it reverently, and also the fact that the fans have really warmed to him, because he's just a lovely guy. He doesn't come with any baggage, you know what I mean? He's just an all-round good guy. So, we've been very lucky to find Dave. I think had we not found Dave, we might have things might have taken a different course.
Indeed, it's completely understandable too. And what a beautiful turn of phrase.
Because it had Trevor's blessings,
Yes, of course. It's over 150 shows within the last year is simply astounding. With your vast experience, do you?
I think we are. Yeah. I think if you compared us against most bands, we'd certainly be on top of the tree or close to it.
Most
but
certainly.
It's something we love, and we're lucky enough to have a fan base that covers 58 countries.
Indeed.
I think a lot of that is down to the fact that in the old days we had a saying in the band that if the people couldn't come to the music, we'll take the music to the people. And whereas most bands, from our area were just doing, America and mainland Europe, we actually went out to the Eastern Bloc countries and all sorts and made the extra effort to go out there. And I think that kind of paid dividends, later on in life because we almost became part of their folklore.
Absolutely.
So we're kind of musical folklore, that is, because we were kind of pioneers in a way, because we one of the first bands to go to, say, Bulgaria and Hungary and Czechoslovakia before it became the Czech Republic and Slovakia and East Berlin and all that. We used to really go out to those places to play. And I think that now the world is a different place and the wall's down, Berlin wall's down, etc., etc. And I think we've almost become, like, as I said, part of their musical folklore, so it allows us to go and continue to tour in those countries very well.
Most certainly. Was that the key to success, particularly back in the early days around 1969, 1970? Was that what gave you the ability to turn music into a paying career?
I think to a degree, yeah, certainly later in life, because, when lots of things relaxed around the world. I mean, i.e., for instance, being the first Western rock band to be invited to go and play Russia.
Yes.
We went over to Moscow and played 180,000 people over a 10-day period. I mean, that was just immense, And we had a Hungarian promoter that used to say, you don't know how big you are in Russia, it's immense. And he tried to get us to play there for about 17 years, I think. And he always sent an invite over, and they always refused it and said, niet. And then when Glasnost was formed, December 1987, and Gorbachev and Reagan were having their peace talks, we got invited over to be the first Western rock band. And once again, we went over there, and we didn't realise how big we were, and it was huge. It was silly. But then when we went over there, through our success, we were kind of pioneers again for rock and roll. Through our success, it allowed other bands to follow in our wake. The following year, the Scorpions went, and our London office helped them to go with all the excuse the pun, red tape. And then following that was the Peace Festival with Motley Crue and Ozzy Osbourne and that, I think it's paid dividends and allowed us to actually have a fan base in 58 countries where lots of other bands are really just mainland Europe and maybe America.
Most certainly.
We really hit the world stage, you see, with Demons and Wizards, and I think that's what really opened it all up for us.
Absolutely. I hope this isn't a silly question, but we look at Jimmy Page, Robert Plant, still about, still going. Ozzy is, of course, they're still very active, larger than life. Did you come up with a magical recipe of some description for all this success and your longevity in the music world?
Well, I think longevity comes, to be honest, is back to the music, I mean, we've been lucky enough to have a lot of good songs that have stood the test of time that people still like hearing in the live arena. And I think that's the essence of it all. It's always the music, When there's any music fad comes out, like new wave, punk, whatever, it's only those bands with great songs that still hang around, For instance, say, the punk, for instance, Sex Pistols, all they were, they did have some good songs. And Clash, had some fantastic songs, and they're always part of that genre when you look at that genre. And I think that's the essence of everything. That's where our longevity is.
Fantastic. And look, congratulations on Outsider. I firmly believe it's an utterly prodigious work. It's and very consistent with your sound, but you seem to be still evolving.
Well, yes. What can I say? I mean, we're still writing new material, which is great, And I think that when we take that on stage, that freshens up the classic stuff too, because you get a different buzz from it when you're coming out of a new one to an old one and stuff like that. So
sure, yeah,
it's very important to us. And when we do a set list, we're aware that so many people come to the show to hear, like the July Mornings and the Gypsies and the Living Lady Relax and Free Music and stuff like that. So we'll always do that as the nucleus of the set. And then with the new album, we will, tend to put 4 or 5 songs in from there. And then we'll also go back to our back catalogue and we'll look at some songs that maybe we haven't played before or not for a very long time and bring them back in so that when you come to a Heep show, you tend to get a musical journey through our career, really.
Indeed, and we're of course very thrilled that you're returning with Metropolis touring and your first visit back to the colony, if I can call us that respectfully, since 2011, which was a triumphant tour in itself. What do you enjoy about coming back to Australia?
Oh, too many things. well, I used to live there for about 10 years in Sydney.
Yes, yep.
And so did our keyboard player, Phil Lanson. And he's got an Australian girlfriend. So the connection is that we've got lots of friends and family out there. Number one, that we don't get the chance to see very often, which is wonderful. And the fact that we love the country. It's absolutely brilliant, the lifestyle out there and everything. And And I think the most important thing is the rock fans. They are true rock fans, and if they like you, they let you know.
Yes.
You know, if they don't like you, they let you know.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? And that's a great place to be, you know. And I generally, I think that, you know, the times we've been there, luckily the thumbs gone towards the like us.
Yes, indeed.
And we always have such a great time there, you know. What is there not to like, you know? We play
exactly.
music to great fans. We've got friends and family that we haven't seen for a long while. Great food, drink, beautiful sunshine. Come on.
Yeah, we've got it all. Thanks very much for that. Look, is there any chance of you doing all of our international advertising for vacations and so forth? Mick, was there a particular point in your life when you became acutely aware of a multi-generational following, particularly at live shows?
I would say that would be Demons and Wizards time, yeah. We really went on the world stage there, and offers started coming in from all parts of the world for us to go and play.
Mm.
So that was quite pivotal, that, you know. Up to that point, we were, you know, obviously doing America very nicely, and Canada and mainland Europe, and also the Eastern Bloc countries we were talking about. But it kind of just opened it up even more with that album.
Yeah.
And of course, the success from that on, you know, then the roll-on of success from that, you know.
Sure, absolutely. And look, for your younger fans, and I know there's a great many of them here. I have a 13-year-old in my house that's very, very keen on your music indeed. But he wanted
that's one of the surprises in life, you know, is that, you know, especially in Europe, that there's such a young fan base we have. You know, you go to the shows and it's all young people, and they're shouting for songs that are older than them, you know.
Yes.
The guys say, play Gypsy, Mick, and you go, blimey, it's twice the age of you know. And that shows you what a good song stands the test of time, you know, and it's fantastic. I love it.
Most certainly, and I don't want you to feel disrespected in any way, but you've got some tracks that are older than me. And I'm getting on a bit.
Aren't we all? But we're still doing something we love, and that's the important thing.
Most certainly. You're still kicking it, absolutely. And as I say, an absolute privilege to be able to speak to you. For those younger fans, my son wanted me to ask you, how did the Charles Dickens character become the band's namesake?
How did the band's name take place?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, right, okay. Well, we went in the studio as a band called The Spice.
Yes.
Yes, unfortunately, we were the Spice Boys before the Spice Girls. and we were just a four-piece then, and we recorded their first album very, very humble. And as we were hearing the tracks back, we were thinking that another colour from a keyboard player might be the way to go. So we got a guy to play some keyboards, and we thought, well, yeah, that's definitely the template we want, you know. And then I was a big fan of Vanilla Fudge, and Vanilla Fudge had a hammered organ and stuff, and I loved that. The thing about Vanilla Fudge is they were a great band, but they didn't write original songs at the time. But what sound they had was just immense. So I was very influenced by that. So we decided the Hammond organ was the instrument we wanted to augment with the rest of us, because it's an instrument that has many colours. You know, it can be very gentle, very romantic, or very churchy, or very aggressive. Can be violent. You know, it could be everything. So it suited everything that we were doing musically. So we included that, and of course with the template change of the music, and with the added person coming in, Ken Hensley at the time, we decided to change the name was probably the way to go. So we had a list in the studio wall that with all the names on it. Remember, these are hippie times, so we had no names like Corrugated Dandruff and all sorts of stupid names, you know. And none of them was fitting really well. And then at the time we were looking for the name, it was the 100th birthday of Charles Dickens.
Oh, yes.
And Charles Dickens was, being English, you know, there was films, there was book clubs, there was TV programs, posters all over the place. There's posters on the London buses and stuff about his work, you know. And our manager at the time took his two children to go and see David Copperfield, the film version.
Yes.
And in the film version, there was the character Uriah Heep, and he came back and suggested that to us. And we thought, yeah, what a great name, you know. And the nice thing about it is that it was, you know, to take a character of such a literary giant as Charles Dickens around with as our name, you know,
yes.
it was brilliant, you know. So it was just all made for us, if you like.
Wonderful.
And we liked it. We liked the way it looked in print as well, because there was Deep Purple, Black Sabbath, it was all DBs, E, D, D, but there wasn't any U, and a U stood out. So that was another plus.
I hadn't considered that. Yeah, that's an interesting point indeed. It's. I have to ask you, and look, I'm horribly sorry that we're out of time. There's so much I want to ask you. I'm hoping to hit you up for an interview while you're in country. That would be terrific.
Okay, mate.
Do you have one favourite album from the past which you're most proud of or has significant meaning for you?
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's
but when you finish it, you see you're very proud of it, and it's your baby, and that's it. And then you move on, and that one becomes your favorite. And I think it always probably ends up being, probably Outsider, because I wrote nearly everything on it. And there's all sorts of reasons, but it's generally the fans that give you the landmark of albums that have been successful.
Indeed, yes.
But I don't really have one that I can actually pull out the bag.
Well, look, congratulations again on Outsider. It's thoroughly tremendous. I can't get enough of it, but most enjoyable indeed. And thank you very much for coming out to see us again. You start off on the 19th of March in Sydney, back to your old home, and it'll be absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, well, we can't wait.
Oh, terrific. Mick, thank you
We're
again.
in the starting grid, mate. We've got a lot to do before that, as I say, with Russia and, Israel and the American tour and all that. But, by the time we come to you guys, we'll be ready for it.
Well, the last thing you seem to do is get tired, so we should be fine.
We've still got the dreaded jet lag to go. I've been to Australia so many times. I've tried it every way. I've tried drinking my way through it, taking sleeping pills, melatonin, and everything, but none of it works, does it, really?
Oh, no. Look, let's give the drinking a try again next time and see how we go. I'll join you for that.
All right, mate, cool.
Terrific, Mick. Thank you again
sounds
for your
good.
time. Absolute pleasure to speak with you. Thank you again.
And say hello to your son and everyone out there as well, mate, for us.
Will do indeed. Thank you kindly, Mick.
All right, mate. Take care, my friend.